Chapter 3.7 Order of Sharps and Circle of Fifths. Now, this right here is an outstanding way of visualizing the circle of fifths. Now, basically, going around clockwise, as you'll see I've written here, you start off with C, and that's where you'll end up after you make your way all the way around the circle of keys. How you go around the circle is by starting with the C major scale. And with the C major scale, every time you'll notice when you count up 5, it'll take you to the next note, G. G, A, B, C, D. When you count up 5, it takes you to D. When you count up 5, D, E, F sharp, G, A. It takes you to A. So you'll see every time you count up 5, it will take you to the next key around the circle of fifths. And you'll also see here with the enharmonic keys how that will switch enharmonically from E to B, F sharp, and C sharp gradually into flats, from C flat, G flat, D flat, A flat, E flat. These are both enharmonic. They can be thought of either way. Think of this part as transitioning keys into flats or flats into sharps, which we'll learn. So they'll see here and here. We'll start with these. This is the order of sharps as they're added. The order will always go F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, E sharp, and B sharp. And each time you add one, you're adding it to all of the previous ones. So when you add F sharp, it will be only F sharp. When you add C sharp, it will be F sharp and C sharp. When you add G sharp, it will be F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp, as we will get into a little bit later on as we explain. But notice here, these are also broken into the group 1 fingerings for each of these scales, group 2 fingerings for each of these scales, like we discussed a little bit earlier. And these are broken into the group 3 fingerings and the group 3 scales, which we were talking about. This is a great reference. I don't want to go all the way through the finger numbers again for the sake of this studies, except you can go back and review these or use this as a great resource for a go-to review of how to assign the fingerings to these different groups of scales. The main thing I want to illustrate, though, is how this order of sharps is created, right? Starting out with C. C major, no sharps, no flats. I want you to watch over here as I'm doing it as well, so you can see as these sharps and flats are getting added and how they look. So with C, you have no sharps, no flats. To get to the next key, to add a sharp, in the circle of fifths, they call it circle of fifths because to add a sharp, you have to count up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how that took me to G. G is the key of 1 sharp, F sharp, our first one. You'll see that if you look over here using the same whole half pattern. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, there's your sharp, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G. So that's your G scale. Scale of 1 sharp, as you saw there. Lo and behold, count up 5 again. And it puts you to D, right? Now, watch this as you look over here. Same major scale pattern. D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D. So, hence, the scale of D has these 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Let's count up 5 again. Up to A. That takes us to A. Let's make A now our root as the new next key, and watch what happens when we use the same major scale pattern on A. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Now, A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, A. See how there's now F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp in the scale of A. Now let's count up 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it puts us at E. Let's make E the root for the next scale now. And watch what happens over here. We had 3 sharps before. The next sharp, D sharp. See when you can spot it. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. See how there's now 4 sharps. E, D sharp, C sharp, B, A, G sharp, F sharp, E. 4 sharps now. These 4 sharps, right? Now, that's the end of the group 1 keys. So let's count up 5 from E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, every time you count up, it must be diatonically in the scale, the notes of the scale, counting 5 up. That takes us to now B, the note B. Now let's make B our root, like you see right here. And this can also be B or C flat. B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. See, we added an A sharp by counting up 5. B, A sharp, G sharp, F sharp, E, D sharp, C sharp, B. See how now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sharps in the key of B right here, right? And so the key of B, we have 5 sharps. As you guessed, if you count up 5 again from B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, diatonically. Now, we're in the key of F sharp major, right? And now with F sharp major, we're going to add yet another sharp, right? F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp. See, we now added an E sharp. Now all of these sharps exist within the key of F sharp major. And if you watch over here, you can see all the sharps as they're being added. F sharp, E sharp, D sharp, C sharp, B, A sharp, G sharp, F sharp. You're kind of getting the hang of how this works. So now you're at F sharp with all of these sharps, and you only have one more sharp left in C sharp major, because if you count up 5 from F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, right? When you're at 7 sharps, there's only 7 notes in the scale, so, and we don't use double sharps or double flats in any scales, so C sharp has all 7 sharps, and it will add B sharp. If you watch here, C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B sharp, and C sharp. This scale, every single note is now sharped. There's no more to add, so watch what happens as you count up 5 again. C sharp, B sharp, A sharp, G sharp, F sharp, E sharp, D sharp, and C sharp. Now, since everything is sharped and we don't use any double sharps in any of the keys, watch what happens when you count up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It puts you at G sharp. There is no such thing as G sharp major, as you'll see here. It switches over at this point in the circle of fifths to A flat major. And now we're going to be using flats instead of sharps. So this is now going to be A flat major. Same whole, whole, half major scale pattern. Only the difference is now we're using flats instead of sharps. So watch what happens now in A flat major. A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, and A flat, G, F, E flat, D flat, C, B flat, A flat. You can see those flats along here too. That has 4 flats if you notice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? But now watch this. Here's the kicker. We're in A flat now, but if you continue counting up 5 in flats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It takes you to E flat, right? Right here, just in our circle. Now watch this. E flat. In the key of E flat, same whole, half major scale pattern. But watch what happens now. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. If you've been counting along, you'd see that we lost a flat now. E flat, B flat, A flat. So there's E flat major, the key of 3 flats, right? But now watch what happens when we count up 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Diatonically, of course. It puts us at B flat major. See, now that we're at B flat now, watch this. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. notice it took another flat away, making it 2 flats now in the key of B flat. B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D, C, B flat. Right? So now the key of B flat, that shows us, has 2 flats. And here's the kicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count up 5 again, and look, it brought us to the next one around the circle of fifths. The key of F. And as you guessed it, as it's going on, we're going to see it take away another flat in the key of F. 1 flat now. F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. F, E, D, C, B flat, A, G, F. So that is the key of F now. See how it has 1 flat in the key of F. That's where they're getting that from. But now, lo and behold, guess what happens when you count up 5 again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And look where you're right back. You're right back at the note C, in C major, all the way around the circle of fifths. You gain a better understanding of how that works. To gain a full understanding of the circle of fifths, you would need to understand it the other direction as well. Counting up by fifths this way will take you around the circle of fifths clockwise. But what happens if you were to count by fourths? If you count up by fourths from your starting no sharps, no flats with C, you'll notice it will take you all the way around the other way. Let me just show you this very briefly. So starting C, no sharps, no flats. This time, instead of counting up 5 to go clockwise, watch what happens when you count up starting with no sharps, no flats, counting up only 4 this time, otherwise known as the circle of fourths. You see the flats over here. This is the order, B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Now watch this. Starting with C, C major, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice how it takes you to F now. Counting up 4. If you make F your root now, and count up, or spell up, the major scale pattern on F. 1, 2, like this. You'll notice here, it added 1 flat by counting up 4. As you guessed it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Count up 4 from this and make that your root. Now, look where you're at. You're at B flat. So B flat, count up 4 again. And you guessed it, make that your root. And you're at E flat now. Notice that it went from B flat with 1, 2 flats, now to E flat here. Notice it added another flat. 1, 2, 3. And E flat. Lo and behold, count up 4 again. Look where it takes you. A flat major, right? See how in A flat major, it added another flat. Now you have A flat, B flat, D flat, E flat. Now you also noticed that B, E, A, D, it's going in order of these. Even though the scale may not spell the order of the flats in this order that they're added, this is the order that they're added. B, E, A, D, G, C, F, as you'll see. So in A flat, watch what happens when you count up 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. It takes you to the enharmonic note D flat. Make that your root and follow the major scale pattern again. And watch what happens here. It adds another flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat, C, D flat. So in D flat, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now, count up 4 again, continuing this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, diatonically. Now we're at G flat major. Notice how this enharmonic is G flat, A flat, B flat, C flat, D flat, E flat, F, G flat. See how all except 1 is now flatted in the key of G flat major, right? And we added this one, C flat, right? And if you guessed it, count up 4 again from G flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. it takes you to C flat or B natural, the enharmonic note. And a C flat, you'll notice now we added another flat by counting up 4, and we're out of flats now. Take a look at C flat major. C flat major has the notes C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, and then back to C flat. Now, it has every one of those flats. We're out of flats. We don't use double flats. So watch what happens as we count up 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make that our root note and major scale pattern. And look, we're at E now, counting up 4. And now we're back to sharps. 1, 2, 4 sharps, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And now, you guessed it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Count up 4 again, and make A your root, and it took away a sharp. Now we're at 1, 2, 3 sharps. In the key of A, count up 4 again from A this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make that your root, and we're at D. Look at this. 1 sharp, 2 sharps. In D, 2 sharps now, and count up 4 again this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. That will take you to G. Make G your root. Apply the major scale pattern, and look, 1, 2, 3. We have 1 sharp now, G sharp. And then, watch what happens when you count up 4 again. As you guessed it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make C your root, and look, we're right back where we started, all the way around the circle of fourths. Counting up 4 will navigate you this way. Counting up 5 will navigate you this way. These are the what we were talking about earlier, just for reference, with Group 3, Group 2, and Group 1 scale fingerings. Make sure you follow these rules. These are very good rules that will give you a jump start on these. These are the order of sharps and order of flats. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Those aren't the order of flats as you see them in the scales. That is the order in which they are added. A good way to remember them is B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Beads get caught frequently. To remember the order of flats, right? To remember the order of sharps, you can think of this as fat cats get drunk at Eddie's bar. Or if there's any younger folks watching this, I didn't just say that. I meant to say fat cats get down at Eddie's barn. Whichever one you feel works for you. That's the circle of fifths and the circle of fourths. Practice these and practice going through these with the correct fingerings to gain a full fluid control over all of your key signatures, and use this as the first basis in branching out into understanding where those flats come from. Not only that, except why those flats are in the key that you're in, and why the key that you're in has that many sharps or flats. We will cover more about key signatures a little bit later on.